Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. Good afternoon, Beer Geeks. We're 2 days back into UK lockdown, and I've already got no idea what day it is. It is Friday, right, Brad?
Mate, I'm also pretty confused. It is Friday. I can confirm it's Friday, but I couldn't quite tell you what month it is. Possibly.
We had a comment on a podcast 2 weeks ago. So we schedule these, and I managed to schedule it wrong 2 weeks ago. So I actually ended up sending it at Saturday at 5pm. And somebody messaged us going like, yeah, I was really confused when you did that. You should not set your clocks by the craft beer channel, guys. That's not a way to lead your life, because we don't know what day or month or time it is.
No. But
we appreciate and apologise for any confusion caused by doing a Saturday 5pm podcast. Bradley, how you been this week?
I've been really good, man. I've considering the world is a very strange place again. Still, nothing's changed since a week ago. And I've been feeling a little bit down, but I've been doing a few nice things to try and rally myself a little bit before lockdown 2. So I've been going out, having a few beers, very, very sensibly, of course, within the law, and hitting some of my favourite pubs up in town.
While we still can,
could. We can't anymore.
Well,
but,
good for you. I did not do that. Last weekend, we went to the pub and had a last hurrah. But let's move along. We've got a very exciting stay-in night coming.
We do. I mean, we said do not set your clocks by the craft beer channel. But now I'm going to say definitely do set your clocks by the craft beer channel. Why, Johnny? Why would they do this?
Well, we've got our next live show. So as soon as lockdown in the UK was announced again, we were like, right, holy crap, we need to find something to do. So we went and approached a brewery that we've been thinking about approaching for a long time to do a live show, and that is Siren Craft Brew.
Amazing.
And they were well up for it. So we've got the founder, Darren Anley, a really lovely guy, who's put together an amazing beer box of red ales, West Coast IPAs, imperial stouts, some lovely New England session pales, one called Lumina, which has an amazing story. The way that they released it, they did it with a stargazer. Ooh. And they sent a stargazing chart and all kinds of cool stuff. I don't know whether you'll get that in the box. I don't think so, but we can ask Darren about it. It's a cool story. And he'll be joining us at 8 p.m. on November 14th. So that's next Saturday.
Yep.
For a good couple of hours to drink through a couple of those beers, and there's enough in there for you to go away and enjoy after the show, but we'll talk about those beers during the show so you know what you're drinking. And that should be, I think, one of the best live shows we'll have ever done. Like the box that they put together, which you can buy, we'll put a link in the show notes, is absolutely stellar.
Mate, I absolutely love Siren. To the point where I was drinking, I had about 3 sound waves in Royal Albert, which is one of my local pubs in New Cross. One of my favourite pubs in the world. I went there. I haven't been there in months and months and months, but last weekend, I think it was, I went there. And I sunk 3 pints of Soundwave, because, they've got all sorts of stuff on the bar, but it's tasting that good. It's that juicy that I was just like, give me the juice. Great.
Yeah, it's interesting because that beer started as a West Coast IPA and they have shifted it slightly towards New England, but it is tasting great. It was the right ABV already. It already was a bit hazy and had some body to it. So it was a simple shift. And yeah, I think Soundwave is like challenging punk as that really reliable, delicious 5.5%-ish IPA that you can get in, craft beer bars and some less crafty places that are just having a little dip in the ocean with some craft beers. So it's super available and tasting absolutely banging at the moment.
All right.
So I think we'll probably open with that beer and then we'll move into their more idiosyncratic stylings. And believe me, there's some unusual stuff like the Nitro Red Ale. I'm looking forward to trying that. Some other quick news before we dive into this week's video is that on Sunday we have the next episode of The Bubble. This is a very exciting episode and a very emotional episode with Rufus Hound, of all people, who we got connected with because he follows the Craft Beer channel on Twitter. And I was watching Would I Lie to You late night while unable to sleep because of anxiety. And he was on there and he talked about how he'd visited all but 4 of London's Red Lions.
Blimey.
So I was like, that is a story we need to tell on The Bubble. So we approached him and actually ended up talking mostly about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to put a little excerpt here so that you can see just how amazing this interview is. And then we'll get on with the podcast. But this is going live on Sunday at midday.
The 120 people watching it, the 4 people playing it, all went, yes! Yeah! We went fucking mad. It was one of the most genuinely heartfelt, joyful things. I mean, 2020, right? Everything's awful. The world's terrible. We're run by cunts. But that moment of, oh my God, our friend died, to this weird thing that could have been any one of a million things actually turned out to be that none of us foresaw or could have predicted.
When I was a slightly younger man, I used to hang around with a lot of Bristol punk guys, who are still good friends, but I don't really see them that much. But Rufus actually used to make a TV show. He used to host a TV show called Grime Scene Investigation, which was about people and how they lived in squalor. So he would go around with a team of sort of CSI style grime scene investigators who would swab the living hell out of every surface, take it to a lab, and then come back and tell all of the disgusting things that were, all the bacteria and stuff that was on everything, from, maybe a toothbrush to your toilet seat to your kitchen plate. And my mates, who were in a Bristol punk band called Hooligan Swamp, Badge and Jim, were on this show, and it was their band house. And basically, they came back, and everything was covered in fecal matter, Johnny. Everything, everywhere.
Oh my God!
It was horrendous. You can actually watch it on YouTube still. Grime Scene Investigation. Maybe we'll put a little link up, but it's just weird when you have friends that you've known for years, but you didn't know they'd done this thing in their younger years, and then you kind of you're at a house party and they put it on, and it's kind of like a weird little alternate dimension.
They put it on, and everyone suddenly looked at their glass, at the plate they were eating the food off, and went, "Oh God!" I
mean, we already knew it was pretty. It's very student-esque, these guys back in the day. Now they're all incredibly grown up and they've got all kinds of worldwide international fame. One's an international photographer, fashion photographer. The other one runs a big kind of media thing out in China. So they've done amazingly well. But they started off...
And I'm sure they'll appreciate you bringing up their sordid fecal past.
Well, I've used their kind of pseudonym names, but anyone could probably work out who they are if they were to watch the...
Especially if we put a link in the description.
Yeah. So I like Rufus Hound. I've been at a festival and they've rung him on the phone, which blew my mind, because I'm a fan of Rufus, so anyway.
He was a wonderfully honest and open guest and hysterical at points. But there are some really dark topics that we cover with him. So we've put a little warning and some links in the descriptions box if any of you are affected by the issues. But it's a wonderful podcast, one of the most sort of vital and important we've ever done. So please do give that a listen. Now, from fecal matter on plates to this week's video in which we cook. What a wonderful link, Bradley.
God.
Thank you for that.
That's a terrible link. Oh,
So this week it was a sponsored video. I have to make that super clear. We teamed up with Hopped Craft Sauces. So they make, Sammy makes hot sauces, delicious hot sauces, using real hop oils. So these are hopped sauces, and they're absolutely delicious. I've got one in front of me that I've started adding to my lunchtime sandwiches. It's called African Queen Piri Piri Pilsner.
nice.
But we used his core range. So he collabs with breweries. He's done one with Brew by Numbers. I think that's about to come out. It's a double IPA sauce. But we used his core range. So there was a smoked chipotle stout. There was a New England IPA, I think Nelson Sauvin and Citra hot sauce. And then there was a lager sauce, a Hallertau lager sauce. And we made 3 intense hangover sandwiches with them, which was a lot of fun. We're really pleased with the video. Obviously, it's food, so it's not doing as well as our really beery content. But I've made one of those sandwiches since. I've made the mushroom one because I think it's absolutely awesome. And yeah, we're really pleased with it. And I think so were the comments. You know, smaller reach, but lots of very excitable beer geeks buying hot sauces in the comments.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it seems like loads of people have actually been motivated to go out and buy hop sauce, which is great, man. I think it's a unique product, definitely, and just as a bunch of different hot sauces, they're all amazing. I mean, we can all do with a little bit of spice in our lives these days, so I just
the world's not spicy enough already.
Yeah. So I just thought it was awesome, and I love making that video. It's great being out in Borough Market, buying all the best sort of ingredients to go along with it and complement the sauces, and watching your frankly very good cooking skills, Johnny, in my kitchen, cooking up a storm.
I used to sit there at my desk at Jamie Oliver's, and we'd watch him cooking, we'd watch him filming. Like, a lot of my presenting style and my cooking style is very much inspired by Jamie. So somebody put in the comments, it was like going back to our food sheep days, and it was right. I was basically impersonating Jamie Oliver. What did you think of the comments? Have you picked any out?
Yeah, so I just got one from Blake Armstrong that said, "I liked this video before it came out, nay, before 'twas even made." Which I mean, me too, Blake. I just think, what is better than a sandwich? Just any sandwich. Now, when you put
what is better than sandwiches?
Sandwiches are great, right? I mean, they're just a brilliant invention. And when you add cheese in the mix, you add hot sauce in the mix. You toast them. Maybe you're frying them in a frigging frying pan. All of this grease and this. You put an egg in there. Oh my god, it's incredible. But I didn't even talk about the bacon, Johnny. But
you did, yeah, I know. Lots of the comment. Well, there were some comments saying like, I think all 3 of those need bacon, and I respectfully disagree. My least favourite. Actually, my favourite sauce was probably the sauce we put with the bacon.
Yeah, that was good.
But in terms of a sandwich overall, my favourite was definitely the mushroom.
The mushroom took me by surprise because I'm not a huge mushroom head, but they're so
because you haven't cooked them right, Brian.
Well, that's it. I think I've never given them the time that they deserve, or cover them in quite so much garlic paste. But they were frigging delicious with the parsley as well. Actually, that was a good shout. Yeah, I was into them. Meatiest of the meaty fungi.
Absolutely. It's amazing how, I think this is what's so clever about hopped sauces, is how, and the whole of the Bubble podcast was based around this idea that if we're really into beer, there's going to be all these other worlds that everyone's really into, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons with Rufus Hound on Sunday, or whether it was the coffee episode we did with James Hoffman, or whether it was homebrewing, all these kind of different worlds, cheese that we did with Evan of the Colonel. This interest in artisan and in flavour.
Yes.
People aren't just into beer, right? Everybody's into lots of different things. And we're starting to introduce, hopefully, we'll be doing movies, we'll be doing more music, all that kind of stuff. And Hopped, jumps on that Venn diagram, I think, and finds that middle niche of people who love hot sauce and love IPA. Or indeed any style, but they specifically love hops. My comment of the week doesn't actually come from this week's video again. I love diving into the comments that come off of videos that we've released ages ago. And this one was on our Hype Train video about Hill Farmstead, in which we asked, is Hill Farmstead the best brewery in the world? Which is a bit of a crass question, but hey, you've got to be a bit crass on YouTube sometimes. And not engaging with the content whatsoever, Christ's Chin comes comes in and says, it's just a mild poison with attractive marketing you're drinking. Why would you be so stupid as to actually pay you guys to talk about it? People are stupid, and you guys are making money from it.
So is he in league with the guy that called us third degree Masons a couple of weeks back?
No, that's a whole other guy.
Wow. So really bringing
there are a lot of temperance trolls out there on YouTube. And they're enormous fun. I still haven't replied to Christ's Chin.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not quite sure what to say, other than to say we don't make a lot of money from it.
No, I'd say first of all, great name, Christ's Chin. It feels like something you'd say as when you hit your toe.
When you stub your toe, Christ's Chin.
Yeah, it's like a really powerful expletive. I like it, Christ's Chin. But yeah, your comment is whack. So. Go
nice name, whack comment.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, I think there is the reason I wanted to bring that up is there is a really strong temperance movement, and I think we've seen it in the way that a lot of governments around the world have dealt with coronavirus. So alcohol has always been shut down as this, vaguely dangerous, completely hedonistic kind of thing, and actually, no, it's not.
Yeah,
it is in the pub and in a beer. It is a way that people interact and feel close to other humans, which is just about the most important thing, other than eating, drinking, and breathing, that humans can do.
Indeed.
So the fact that we're shutting these down because of, in the UK, we have a huge but very kind of clandestine temperance movement in lots of, charities. I guess they are charities. They are definitely helping people that, have a bad relationship with alcohol. But these insidious links that they get into government, where they start to inform these decisions that actually have nothing to do with preventing alcoholism and everything to do with inflicting a political point of view on people, is really disheartening to see, and is really absolutely everywhere. And I think, there's probably some paid trolls out there on YouTube making these comments. I'm not implying that Christ's Chin is, because I think they'd have come up with a better name.
Yes.
But or a more specific name. But it's definitely happening, and we get probably 3 or 4 comments just like that every single week from new names, which is always an alarm bell if it's a new person every time.
I agree. And I agree about, the pub being the place when you can kind of meet your fellow man and it's just such a welcoming place, and it's not all about getting off your tits or whatever, although that is fun from time to time. But this week, another comment was from Matt Somner. He just said, "Hot damn, I miss Borough Market. Hope you popped into the rake for a cold one." We didn't on that video, but this week...
it was very early in the morning, that's why. That's the only reason.
It was. That was purely the only reason we had to film about 3 videos that day. But
oh yeah, that too, yeah.
I was in the rake this week. I met my oldest friend in the world, Stephen. And we had a lovely day around London, just walking around outside, enjoying the sunshine, and then drinking in the rake. Can I call it a garden? I don't know. It's like a yard, but we were drinking some heavily reduced price cask to try and help them get rid of all their cask.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that was wonderful, and then literally. Wednesday night I was in I went out in Soho, and I was in the Lyric drinking cask again, trying to help those guys out, and I ended the night in Bradley's bar, which isn't really a craft beer bar, Bradley's Spanish bar, which is
and it's not your bar either.
It's not my bar yet, Johnny, but I love it.
You made some moves. You were doing some research last night, Sunday night.
I know, but this is a place that I go very rarely, but I always have a great time when I'm there. It's a proper 1960s weird little pub, but they don't have very good beer. They do have an amazing jukebox, and they've probably got the most sort of welcoming, strange, disparate but lovely clientele going, from like little old men to sort of the occasional hipster, and then just loads of regulars that are there for the good times and the music. And they had Budvar, so I was drinking Budvar and shots of Jägermeister, which people were buying. Just random people were buying me shots of Jägermeister, Johnny. And
What?
it's that much of an amazing place. And then we all ended the night singing Ace of Spades by Motorhead at full volume, which was awesome.
So we're at 20 minutes now, Brad. So we've got to rattle through the rest of what we were going to talk about. The first thing is also at 10 a.m. today, our monthly newsletter went out.
Nice.
I say monthly. We haven't sent one since July because you can't set your clocks by the Craft Beer Channel. But you guys should definitely sign up to that. I'll put a link in the descriptions to that as well. But basically that brings together all of the news that me and Brad have, all of our latest videos, some videos from the archive that we think are relevant, as well as all the articles that I've been writing across like Good Beer Hunting, For Men, all those different magazines that I write for. So we bring that together so you can read those. And then we sing the praises of one of our Patreons every month. This month it had to be Elusive Brew because he was Andy Parker, the founder, was helping us out with our pumpkin spiced beer, which was a video we released 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago. Speaking of which, right next to me I have the ingredients for our next homebrew video that arrived just before we started recording. So I'll be brewing that on Monday. Maybe we'll give you some details next week. But we have some final really big news about our Patreons. So Brad and I are starting to ramp up towards the celebrations around 100,000 subscribers.
What?
Which
Amazing.
is not something I ever thought we'd reach. I remember us being down at like 4,000 or 5,000 and thinking that was a huge deal. And it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And looking at people with 100,000 and thinking that it was unachievable and incredible what these people had done. And now that we've done it, of course, we're like, yeah, but we want 200,000, which I think is just the way modern life goes, more. But we're ramping up some celebrations, and one of the things that we're doing is we've launched a exclusive forum for our Patreon members using Discord, which is like an online, think it like the forums of the 2000s, like Mumsnet and Friends Reunited and all that nonsense, but it's bang up to date, and it's got, you can share GIFs, videos, audio recordings, links, we can do polls and all this kind of stuff, and Brad and I will be on there almost daily chatting to people, but already we don't need to be, because everyone's chatting to each other, talking about homebrew tips, talking about beers they've tried, talking about content ideas for the channel they're sharing, and it's already a really welcoming place, and I've already sent several messages to people going, I can't believe how well this has gone. So if you want to join that, the minimum you have to put in is $1 a month into our Patreon, and you'll get access to that as well as your name on every video. And if you put in $3, you get a wonderful exclusive Patreon patch as well. So we'll be sort of relaunching our Patreon based around that, but we're telling you guys and our newsletter people first that you can get involved in that.
And I think it's just I think what we want to do, which from the funny enough, when we launched it on Wednesday, I was on a pub crawl. That was when I was in Soho. So I was.
Who'd have thought?
I was struggling to kind of keep up with it. I'm dyslexic anyway, but I kept trying to upload videos because I thought I can't read all of this, but at least I can be videoing myself in the pub and saying what I'm drinking and all the rest of it. For some reason, there's an 8 megabyte limit, so I was starting off making 2-minute long videos, and then 1.5 minute long videos, and then 30-second long videos, and then I think I got it down to about 8-second videos to try and get on there. But I just thought it was overwhelming, the amount of people and the love that was coming out in it for just like the very first hour, and it was even before I was expecting it. I thought we were doing it at 4, and it was at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and it was just full of like amazing people chatting amongst themselves, making connections. And I think hopefully this is going to be a really non-judgmental platform that's really safe for anyone to sort of just be lovely to each other as much as they can. And like we always try and do with our videos and all our content, it's all about the love. So there are obviously a lot of other brands of Coca-Cola out there and whatnot where you could choose to talk, but I'd like to think that we've got this place that's a nice welcoming place where you might not get hate for being a noob or maybe not being a great expert in beer, and that we can all learn together and enjoy this special thing this juice that we all like imbibing. And
yeah, 100%. If you've ever been on one of our live shows, and you'll see the comments are a wonderful place to be, and everyone's really supportive and getting to know each other. That's what we want from Discord, and it looks like we're going to have that.
Yes,
it's dead exciting to see.
And I think it's a great way for people to like we do on the bubble here, where we're asking for people to send us questions in, like just being able to ask people what they want to watch, like what videos do you want us to make. Some of the ideas that are coming through already are great. Obviously, we've had some of these ideas already, but it's good to see that they're on the same page as us. And that we've we're kind of thinking from the same play. Well, we're speaking from the same playbook. I'm mixing my metaphors, but yeah,
I like it. I like the mashup. So there's a link to our Patreon below, and you'll get access to that Discord forum if you join us. We don't have a question this week. Nobody sent us in a question. So please, if you have a question, record it on your laptop or your phone or whatever it is and send it to us, craftbeerboys@gmail.com, and we will answer it on the podcast. So instead of having a question, I've got a little bit of news and a suggestion. So the news came out yesterday or early this morning that Shelton Brothers, which is the biggest sort of specialty importer in America, has gone under due to COVID and some legal disputes. And that is, obviously terrible news for the people that work for Shelton Brothers, terrible news for America, which is going to lose lots of specialty beer. But it's worse news in particular for small Belgian breweries. And that's because Belgium, makes an incredible amount of amazing beer. And within Belgium, there's not enough people to drink it, right? So Belgium relies heavily on export, and in particular to the US. So this means that with Shelton Brothers going under, they represent most of those really exciting Belgian breweries in the States. So all of these Belgian breweries have lost probably their most important customer. So my suggestion is that at some point this week, let's all buy ourselves an independent, delicious Belgian beer from an independent retailer and drink it, and hopefully that will result in some money cascading to these breweries that might be about to hit on really hard times. We'll take some of the US share while those breweries find new distributors. So I'm going to be drinking lots of Belgian beer this week, and I implore you guys to do so too.
Amen.
The Bubble Podcast is brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's Craft Beer channel. Head to youtube.com/the Craft Beer channel to watch this week's video and over 400 more exciting episodes. If you love what we do, please do subscribe and even join our Patreon at patreon.com/craftbeer channel. Love and beer.